Hey everybody, this is Freddy with LeviathanScuba.com. Did you know the mask was the #1 item that can make or break your underwater experience? How do you pick the right mask anyway? We'll get to that in just a minute. So we did this video a few years back with 5280 Scuba, and it was our #1 video. And we thought we would update it now, do a new one for you with all the questions and answers and comments, taken into account, and a few of the modern technology that's come about to give you an update. So, we hope that it does for you what we intended to help protect you from buying junk and save you some money, things like that. Get the perfect mask just for you. With that, people ask me all the time, what mask should I buy? Give me the best mask. Just tell me what to buy. And the trick to that is everybody's face is different. So not one mask can fit everybody. An example of that is the most expensive mask we sell is a little over $240, made out of the best materials, got all the cool features and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't hardly fit anybody. So if you bought that mask, it wouldn't be worth anything for you. It just would disappoint you and drive you crazy because it would leak all the time, not fitting, right? And then you've seen ratings, the top 10 masks out there. How can that be for you? You can't go by that and say, I'm going to buy the best one, because the best one isn't going to fit you, say. Therefore, it's not the best one for you, right? Our least expensive mask actually is one of those that fits most people, about 95% of the faces. So it's not about expense, it's not about the high-end quality, things like that, okay? So let me bring up this point. When you're buying a mask, buy a good one. This is not the item you want to budget on. You don't want to, because you can buy, over your dive career the next 25, 30 years, you buy the wrong masks, you're going to have to buy it 4 or 5 times over. You buy a good quality masks, good quality materials, fits you perfect, you're going to fall in love with it, you'll keep it for 25, 30 years, and it'll last. So you only have to buy one. So spend the money, do it right the first time, okay? When I say that, let's start out with the absolute right materials. The material the mask is made of makes all the difference in the world, because there's nothing on this earth that can't be made a little cheaper and being sold for a little less to appeal to a lot of people, but sometimes that cheap material is no good. I'll give you a great example. When masks were first made, they were made out of rubber. That was the only material that was made out of. They vulcanized the rubber and they lasted a while. They worked good in salt and chlorine and things like that. But over time, rubber dries out. A testimony to that is this mask right here. This was actually my mask. This was over 40 years ago. Although it has been deteriorated like this for a good 25, 30 years. And the reason is it was in salt water a lot and it dried out. It's all split and cracked. And, here in Colorado, we live in a very dry climate. So brand new mask in the package, you throw it in the closet, it's degrading, it's drying out. And then you'll find a lot of cheap masks, the cheapest material. I recommend everybody stays away from this, is made out of PVC material. Now you feel it when it's brand new. You open it out of the package and at the sporting goods store and you go, wow, this feels great. But again, PVC, it's going to dry out. The sun dramatically affects it, and it's going to get brittle over time, and they don't last that long. At least rubber lasts a little while. PVC, 3, 4, 5 years, they're done. Right? So don't buy PVC, and nowadays don't buy rubber. You don't have to, because one of the best high quality materials out there that will last you forever is the material they also make the most masks out of, and that is a high grade silicone. It's hypoallergenic, it's surgical grade, and can conform to any mold, so they can make any mask with it, and it's not that expensive to use. So silicone's the material to choose. Okay, and the stickier and the softer, the better. When you buy a mask, don't buy it with an acrylic lens. That's plastic. It'll scratch really bad. They yellow over time. They're just terrible. That's just cheap junk when you buy one with an acrylic mask. I'm going to tell everybody, you buy it with glass, you buy it with tempered glass. It won't shatter if it breaks. And that's the only material to use for a mask, okay? Yeah, I'm a little opinionated, but it works. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is the style of the mask. Just as there are so many different people's faces out there, so many different styles out there, so how do you choose the right style? Well, I'm going to go over some of the different style features out there so that you can kind of determine what you want to drift towards when you start to do your research. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is, it's a little trickier to explain, but we have something called low volume. So I'm going to show you with these two masks, okay? If you look at the inside of this mask, the distance, there's two seals. There's an outer seal, there's an inner seal right here, okay? So the distance between this seal and the lens is the volume of the mask. So that's a higher volume. This is a lower volume. You see the seal, you see the distance between the seal and the lens, and I don't know if the camera picks it up real well, but this is less than half the volume of the other mask. So what the heck does that mean? The more volume the mask, the greater capacity for air on the inside of the mask. Imagine if the lens was this far away from your face. You have that much volume versus this far away from your face. You have this much volume. Less volume usually means less water can get in, less equalization for when the pressure is affected from the outside to the inside and you have to exhale through your nose to fill it back up, right? It also can be some negatives. The lower the volume, the quicker your face or your eyeballs is going to heat up that air on the inside, which can make it fog a little quicker. Okay, now I'm going to show you how a mask should never fog, but for the most part, if it's going to fog, a lower volume is going to fog more than a higher volume. So you have to determine. It also determines how close the lens is to your eyes, which is a fantastic factor in how the mask was engineered and made as to how much peripheral vision you see. We'll get into that more in just a minute, okay? So then there's the lens design. Every one of these has a different lens. You see this one here. This has two lenses. They're individual. They're pretty small. This is a narrower mask made for smaller faces. A lot of times ladies, a lot of times children, will fit with this mask here. Then you have something like the 5280 Batfish here. And this lens is very, very long, top to bottom, and it actually has quite a bit of width to it. Okay, again, two lenses, but it has a much larger viewing capacity. So the idea behind the Batfish is you can see from top to bottom far greater. That particular mask is angled more than most, so instead of looking with your head straight up at the horizon, or the surface of the water, your neck can be at a more comfortable angle, and because of the distance for the lens top to bottom, I can see the surface I can see at the bottom just by moving my eyes without having to move my head. Okay? So you also have the difference between a dual lens, as you saw there, and a single lens. So this would be a mono lens. This lens right here has one lens inside of it. Now, initially, you might think this is better. There's no stanchion in between the eyes, so you're not going to see it. But that's not the case. When they engineer and they build the mask, they build it the way they want it for specific purposes. If it's a higher volume, remember the lens is farther away from the eye, you'll find a lot of those have the mono lens, because if the stanchion between the two lenses were out away from your face a little bit, you'd see it. But if it was right here, really close, like when you touch your finger, you can't see that. So having two lenses, if it's closer, is beautiful. It's perfect, okay? And then again, there are some advantages and disadvantages to, things like if you want to do a prescription lens. So much more affordable, so much easier to do with two lenses, right? And I'll get into that again in a little bit. But a mono lens is it's a little bit more difficult, a little more expensive, not impossible to do a prescription lens in, okay? So now the shape of the lens, as I mentioned, the distance, the width, the size is going to make a difference. So when you're trying masks on, remember to look top to bottom, side to side. You'll never be more discerning than you are in the showroom looking at the mask, because when you're scuba diving, you're not looking around all the sides like that. And then try the different masks, some that are really close to your eyes, because the peripheral vision is way out here, right? Versus if they're a little farther away from your eyes, the peripheral vision is only right there, okay? And then you'll find some masks that have a tri-lens. This has been one of those designs you've seen since the early days of scuba masks, and the idea basically is to increase peripheral vision, they're going to give you 2 more windows on the sides. Can be good, might not be good. Don't just think they're a benefit because they have more lenses. Again, if the lens is closer to your eyeballs, you don't need side lenses because you have great peripheral vision. If it's a little bit farther out, having the side lenses might help you see to the side a little bit. There's even some that are made with like a bubble, and the bubble refracts, so it almost works a little bit like a rear view mirror. You can see someone approaching you on the side, right? And people think, well, if a shark comes up, I want to see it. But it doesn't, it's not that big a deal. And then sometimes there's some distortion. That side lens isn't perfect because there's a seam in between the front lens and the back lens. So when you jump to it, there's just a little distortion, okay? And also, the seals are usually just silicone right there, clear silicone like an aquarium fish tank, and they're not part of the skirt. So they can leak over time there, okay? Okay, now a colored lens. What does a colored lens do for you? Why do some people have pink lenses? Well, a pink adds more red into the underwater environment. The red has been filtered out by the sun, starting at about 4 feet down. 20 feet down, human eye can't see red. So the pink lens adds red back to it, gives you more natural colors. Then you have a yellow lens. What does a yellow lens do for you? Well, at night, it makes things brighter, brings out images. If you're in an overcast, sky, but you're underwater, there's not as much light. The yellow actually brings more detail and adds a little bit of brightness to the underwater world. And it filters out the grayish and the bluish out, so it also helps you with some of the colors, okay? Then you get into something that's called a high-def lens. Some will call it ultra-clear, polished glass. Let's talk about that for just a second. So your average tempered glass for a mask, if you looked at it under a microscope, it's going to be jaggedy a little bit, okay? And then you look at a polished or a high-definition lens, and it's going to be smoother. So the first thing they'll tell you with a high-def, ultra-clear, polished lens is that the clarity is going to be better, okay? Because there's less distortion to the light rays going through the lens. Absolutely true. Also, the tempered lenses normally have a little bit of a greenish tint to them, and the polished or high-def lenses are usually much clearer glass. Again, it's absolutely true. In saying that, I will also tell you that I can't tell the difference when I look through them. I'm not saying there is no difference. There is, because some people tell me, I can see the difference. It looks better to me. Great, awesome. That mask is for you. For me to spend extra money on a polished lens or a high-def lens, because they're going to be more expensive, I want to gain the benefit of it. So I'm going to share you another benefit of those lenses that is actually noticeable for me and most people. When the lens is polished, it's less jaggedy. Think about the glass being rougher. Impurities stick to that glass easier. So if you touch it with your fingertips, or if you're sweating and you have some oil in your sweat and it gets on the lens, it actually sticks to that jaggedy lens a little easier. The more impurities you have on your lens, the more your lens is going to fog up. That's the whole idea. When you clean the lens with a good mask cleaner, you get the impurities, the oil off the lens, and it's going to fog a lot less for you, okay? Because the silicone or the defog can stick to the glass better when it's clean, okay? So a mask that's smoother, the glass is smoother, less impurities stick to it, it's going to fog less, okay? Next thing we're going to talk about a little bit is a framed versus a frameless mask. And again, I'm going to start by saying there is not one of these that's better. It is maybe better for you. So this Gargoyle by 5280, you can obviously see the red. That's a frame. It allows some style differences, but what that frame does is it actually clamps down on the silicone to pinch it to the lens. So it works really, really good. This one is a little softer, so it can withstand an impact better. But some of the masks out there that are made cheaply, this material is brittle. And if you drop the mask and it hits something and it cracks, throw the mask away, you're done. It's over, it's finished. When you have a frameless mask, where it doesn't have that plastic frame, like the Ultra Clear here by Atomic, you're going to notice that the silicone is actually molded right around the lens, and it's molded right to the lens, okay? No brittle edge to crack and or break. Now, sometimes, if it's a cheaper version of something like this, then you can peel this back and they leak. You get something in there and they leak. You get sand in there and things like that. Higher quality like the Atomic one, you don't get that problem. But that's basically the difference between a frame and a frameless. One is not necessarily completely better. Again, it's how they're engineered. I want to point out one thing. When you get a frameless and it's a silicone skirt, the buckle is always attached to the silicone, so it's very flexible, things like that. When you get it attached to a frame, it's rigid and it's pulling on the frame. So sometimes the way they engineered the mask, this is going to fit you more uniquely. It's going to pull more evenly onto your face and sit the mask a little bit more evenly on the face. Whereas if you had your strap kind of cattywampus there and it was pulling on the silicone, the mask could be a little tilted, things like that. Okay. The next thing, this is just Freddy's pet peeve, okay? This is just Freddy's pet peeve, and I know we had comments below before where people were like, I've had a purge valve in my mask for 30 years and I love it. I get it, okay? You probably never dove with it. No, I'm kidding. So I hate purge valves, and here's the reason why. They are a hole in your mask, okay? Now, if you don't know what a purge valve is, usually in the bottom of the mask, right where the nose is, they cut a hole, and then they put a little valve that's one way, that when there's water inside the mask, you don't have to touch your face. All you do is tilt your face down, exhale. You pressurize the inside of the mask and you force the water down through that little hole. And then there's a little silicone flap that seals the bottom of the hole so the water on the outside can't get on the inside. Awesome idea, right? I agree. It's a great idea. However, can I tell you what happens in practice when you're really out there scuba diving and you didn't bring a spare mask, you have your mask with the purge valve, and you get sand in it, and it leaks. And you don't know that until you finish your dive and you're sick of clearing your mask, pushing, right? Okay. How about in the sun, that little teeny flap, it's so thin silicone, it warps. Then you jump into that nice cool water and it kind of firms up, hardens, warped, and it leaks really, really slow, drives you crazy, or you get a little tiny tear in it, or something else happens. It's a hole in your mask. So anyway, I'm just going to say this, okay, for you guys that are getting ready to put the comments down below and say, oh, I've had a purge valve forever, and I love it, blah, blah, blah. Go watch TV. Watch National Geographic. Look at all the scientists out there, the dive masters, the instructors, the professional photographers, videographers that are out there doing their job and everything. Tell me if you ever see a purge valve on any of their masks. No professional will have a purge valve in their mask. I'm just saying, okay? I know. You're going to leave me comments anyway. Okay, so the next thing that we do is we talk about the proper fit. And really, this is the most important part of this whole video because everybody's face is different. How do you know which mask is going to fit you? Okay? So, I'm going to say we're going to start out with an emotional fit. What the heck is an emotional fit? Well, it's how do you feel wearing the mask? Not how does the mask physically feel on your skin, but how do you feel? Like buying that really awesome new clothing item. Makes you feel better. Man, I look good in this wetsuit, man. I'm good, right? Same kind of thing with the mask, but it goes a little further than that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about clear versus colored silicone. Okay, you can see that's the exact same mask and Atomic subframe, both in black and clear. What's the difference between the mask? I'm going to be the one to tell you one of those is going to feel better to you. Not physically, they both fit exactly the same. Here I have two of the exact same mask. If you were to put this black one on and look through it, look around, and I asked you, do you like it? Well, yeah, I like it. Okay. Now put the clear one on and you look around. Yeah, I like it. Go back and forth. That's what we do in our showroom first. This is where we start. Black, clear, black, clear. At some point, you're going to say, I like the blank better. One isn't better, but it might be for you. Here's the reason why. When you go to the movies and you're watching a movie, if they left the light on in the theater, it would drive you crazy, right? How about when you're in your living room at night and you're watching your big screen TV, watching that movie, and you want to get into it? Some people have a light on in the room. Some people want to watch it in the pitch dark. Okay? The difference between people, and you can't decide for someone else. I've had parents say, well, just give them the clear one. They're going to like that better. How do you know? Until you put it on them, right? And so we do that with people because almost every mask comes in both. So get it the way you want it. Get it the one that makes you feel better. So somebody puts this on, they go, I like this better. I say, why? They go, I don't know. It's less claustrophobic, allows more light in. I feel like I might have better peripheral vision. You know, they'll say those things, which sound good to you right now. However, just as many people tell me, I like the black better. And I say, well, how come? They go, I can see better. It's clearer. It allows me to focus. And you know, both are true. I will say the one thing that's not true is it doesn't give you any more peripheral vision. But what they're meaning is it's allowing some light in there. They just feel like they are a little bit more open. Okay? So go through that exercise. This is true. It allows you to focus easier on what you're looking at. Think about the light. When you're wearing a black or a colored mask, it's blocking the light out except for what your eyes are seeing. So you're seeing the light that's bouncing off that beautiful fish or that coral or the ocean scenery. You're seeing the light that's reflecting off those items. Therefore, you're focused on those items. When you're wearing the clear, you're not only seeing the light coming off those items, but you're seeing side light. You're seeing ambient light around you as well, which can be distorting, especially if it's bouncing off the glass on the inside, right back into your face, okay? So enough about that, but you want to try that. That's the emotional fit. Okay, now you can also get them in numerous colors, right? And they do the same thing, like the oceanic shadow mask here. It's the same mask, it's going to block the light, but you can get in a little bit more stylish colors, okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the physical fit. This is what we take the most time in our showroom with somebody, the physical fit. I'm going to give you a demonstration that should prove my point. I take this mask. This is the Ultra Clear by Atomic. Awesome mask. Put it on my face. Does it fit? No. This mask does not fit me. So just by taking a mask, mashing it on your face and sucking through your nose, and it sticks, you think it fits. That's a very poor way to determine if a mask is going to fit. Let me show you the proper way, the best way to do this, okay? So, most people wear their mask too tight. It's estimated about 97% of the people wear their mask too tight. You're on the dive boat, somebody comes up, they peel their mask off, they have a seal around their face or a seam. Their mask was too tight. I send people out all the time with a proper fitting mask and they come back and say, Freddy, it doesn't fit. I go, wait a minute, we fit it to your face. It does fit, I know it does. They said, yeah, but it leaked. I go, put it on. They put it on, I say, you tightened it. They go, well, yeah, but I kind of thought, but you tightened it. So let me show you what I mean by that. We took the time, an hour, to find the mask. We went through 40 masks and we found this mask and it fits you perfect. This mask doesn't fit you. This mask does. This mask doesn't. This mask does. What's the difference between the two? When you over-tighten your mask, you distort the shape of the skirt, okay? So if we fit it properly and you have the proper fitting mask, you shouldn't have to tighten it. Honestly, they should fit on you so lightly. I'm going to prove to you this mask doesn't fit me. When we talk a little bit about the outer seal and the inner seal of a mask, the inner seal is the most important part. Every mask has an outer seal. It's this outer edge around here. If that's all that was needed, that's all they would make the mask with. But they put a second seal in these things. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I don't know if clear is going to show up better or not. But if you look at this here, you see this is the outer seal right here. And this is the inner seal. You can see this other seal. Why the heck do they put that in there? And it goes about 3/4 of the way all the way around the mask. So when you fit this mask to your face, that inner seal must touch your skin all the way around. If it doesn't, the mask does not fit you. I don't care if you can wear it. I don't care if you cram it on your face and it doesn't leak water. It doesn't fit you. Now, there's enough masks out there, and they're made for all kinds of faces, that you'll find the one that fits you well. So take your time and do it. Now I'm going to show you. This mask I sucked to my face, and that was the test that many people do. But what if you just let gravity sit it on your face? You don't adjust, you don't mush, you don't pull with a strap. You just sit it on your face lightly like that. If the seal touched me, see, I just sucked in with my nose. It won't hold to my face because there is no seal, right? I can, as hard as I can, and it won't stick to my face, okay? So, that's the test. It must touch your skin. You can look in a mirror. A friend can tell you, right? Or you can try the test like I told you. Just put it on there lightly. Just let gravity hold it. If it sticks to your face when you suck in, you're good to go. Then when you do your strap, every time I put somebody's strap on, they always go, oh, it feels too loose. I go, but it doesn't leak air. How's it ever going to leak water, right? I say, is it comfortable? They go, oh, it's really comfortable. It just doesn't feel like it's sticking on my face very good. I said, but you're sucking in through your nose just very lightly and it sticks right to your face. How's it ever going to leak water if it doesn't leak air, right? So be comfortable. Enjoy your mask. No headaches, no seam around your face when you come up out, right? Make it comfortable. Okay, the next thing, I won't spend a lot of time on this because a lot of masks are engineered differently, but the size of the skirt will make a difference. So if you were a smaller person, perhaps a female or a narrow face or a child, you know, this sea diver mask here would be really, really good. It's got a much smaller profile. The skirt is just a little bit smaller, things like that. It's a little bit more narrow. And that's going to fit you really good. But you can also see a pretty big difference between that and the Tusa HD. Here, this thing is wide. It's extra large. It also has a much larger viewing angle, but this isn't so low volume. It's not really close to your eyes. So you want the bigger lens, you want the bigger window into the ocean, and it's gonna not limit you in what you see, but the size of the skirt's gonna make a difference. Remember, that seal should touch you all the way around. So if it's narrow and it jumps from your eyebrow down to the bottom of your eye socket and there's a little gap in there, it doesn't fit. Right? So find the one that's just a little wider, comes around the edges. And sometimes people have temples that go in. Sometimes they have high cheekbones. You know, so many different masks out there with different skirts. And some manufacturers have multiples. If you love the style of this mask, they might have one that fits small faces, same style, same look, same colors, same lens shape, but then they're going to have a medium skirt and then they might have a large skirt, okay? Okay, so we talked a little bit about both seals should fit all the way around. Light suction through your nose should hold it on, right? Let's talk a little bit about under your nose, okay? So in a showroom, you found the mask that kind of fits. I'm going to say that there's a difference between there and when you're on the dive boat. Because now you're snorkeling or you're scuba diving, you're going to have something in your mouth. And your mouth changes shape, right? You put a regulator in your mouth, it holds over your teeth, it pushes your lips out a little bit further. So what you need to look for in a mask underneath the nose is you need to look for enough space below the nose to come down and create a seal across here. They are very different. Many masks have a very long one meant to give you a little bit more surface area, and then some have a very short one. They do fit different, and they will fit different when you have a regulator in your mouth. So a good test can be, take your tongue, put it over your teeth, and push it up towards your nose just a little bit when you're trying the mask on. Okay? That pushes your lip out just a little bit, so you know if it's going to fit your laugh lines, or on the side right here on the bottom of your cheek, that kind of a thing, okay? And also, you notice I have a mustache. That can be a pain in the butt because, you know, worst case scenario, you don't do anything. You don't shave your mustache. You just put your mask on. You may get a little bit of leakage through the hairs, right? It's not it's not a total good seal because there's hair in the way. And for me, I don't care because I clear my mask. Every one of us scuba diving, we learn to clear our mask. And I just happen to do it. Now, sometimes you can shave completely off. That's going to fix it. But you can shave like 1/4 of an inch right under your nose. And then you shift your mask up a little bit right there. And it's going to seal really, really good. Hey, that's a good fix because you can't hardly notice that the hair's not there. In a couple of days of growth, it almost looks like it's normal anyway, so you're good to go. There are other ways to fix it, and you'll find products on the market like mask seal, things like that. Some people use beeswax, okay? What it basically is it's a material that you put on your mask, on your mustache to seal your mask. You want something that's a natural material or like silicone based. So something that's made for it is best. It's only like $7, so it works out really good. You just put a little on your mustache, then your mask seals, nice good seal. Now, never, ever, 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 ever use something like chapstick or Vaseline, any petroleum product when you're dealing with a silicone mask. Petroleum eats the silicone. You will kill. This material down here is actually thinner than the rest of the silicone around the skirt. It's made to help seal the curvature of the lip and mustaches and things. And actually, if you look at this one really up close, I hope I can get it close enough here for you. If you look, this has a little ridge underneath it that you can see, and that's literally 2 different thicknesses of the silicone. The very bottom edge of that is extremely thin to seal the ridge of underneath the nose and the top of the lip or around a mustache. But being so much thinner, it'll degrade quicker if you use a petroleum product like Vaseline. So just don't do that. Okay, beeswax, mask seal, something like that. It works good. Okay? So now let's get into the features. This is our final little section here for the masks, and the sky is kind of the limit when you get into features of masks out there. I'm going to start out by saying avoid gimmicks. So what do I mean by gimmicks? Everybody's always coming up with the latest and the greatest, the newest mousetrap. So the latest and greatest mask. An example would be a camera built into the mask. Usually it's a cheap mask, it's a cheap camera, and it's great. They, take your vacation photos underwater. It's a great idea on paper, but when the camera stops working or it gets flooded or they don't make film for it anymore or whatever, you're left with a mask with a camera on it you got to use all the time, and chances are the mask didn't fit you properly anyway. You didn't take these steps I'm talking about to find the right fitting mask, so you bought it because of the camera. Okay, I don't like those types of things. I think they're really gimmicky. I'll tell you a great one that happened in the world that's a real life case, and that is a built-in dive computer built into the mask. Great idea on paper, right? You bought this mask for $1,500, right? For $1,500, and had a built-in dive computer with a heads-up display. You never had to look at your wrist. You never had to look at your gauges. You never had to reach for anything. You just look your eye down. You see your depth, your time, your pressure. It was a nice dive computer built, based on another one that you could have purchased with the same algorithms and technology and all of that, until the outer door flooded. Now you had a computer that was dead, never worked, and you had a $1,500 mask with a big old thing sitting on the side of it. Okay, they ended up stopping the manufacturer. They actually recalled some of the end ones, and they would give somebody a regular dive computer in place of it. I'm going to say that, how many people did that mask actually fit? I don't know, but chances are not that many. They bought it for the dive computer, not for the mask. So I'm going to say avoid gimmicks like that. Okay? Briefly, I'll talk a little bit about prescription mask. If you need prescription, whether you wear glasses, contacts, or what, or if you just need readers because you're getting a little older, you can put them in any mask you want. A couple of different kinds, okay? These are like lenses that you can put inside of a mask where we can replace those in 24 hours. Glue is dry, you take it, you buy it for your prescription, you are good to go. You can also buy engineered lenses where they're manufactured for the mask, or they can be ground. This one actually has bifocal lenses built right into it, okay? And then they also have like peel and stick. That's what this one is. It's called Dive Optics. You can literally just peel and stick that into almost any one of your lenses. So if you need prescription lenses, a mask that has 2 lenses, Like this one here, they have off the shelf. You buy it for your prescription, we pop the lenses out, we put your prescription in, you're good to go. It's cheap, it's good to go. If you have something like a mono lens, or you have a custom mask, or you have a difficult to fit mask where they don't have lenses just made off the shelf, we can have prescription lenses ground for those, or they can have the lenses where they glue them on the inside of the mask to your prescription. If you need readers, same thing can happen. I already showed you the image of the lens that's ground with a prescription, then has the reader in the bottom, or you can have stick-on or glue-in readers for the bottom to check out your gauges, okay? Straps, they all come with a nice silicone strap if you buy a nice mask. There are some other types of straps out there that you may enjoy. One of them is called a slap strap. It's a microfiber, stretchy type of neoprene. They don't last as long as a silicone strap, but they're a luxury and they are comfortable. And they will hold their stretch for a very long time, and it's perfect every time. They hook onto your mask with Velcro so it never loosens, doesn't pop a notch when it's wet, and they're great. They just don't last quite as long as a regular silicone strap. And we've done reviews on some of those, so you can check those out. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a full face mask. I'm going to start out by snorkeling. Here you see a full face mask for snorkeling. They become very popular in the last few years. You see a couple people using them. The first thing I want to say about this is do your research. If you buy the wrong one, and it's not easy to tell, you have to do your research, okay? That's the most knocked off piece of snorkeling equipment in the world. And they're killing people. And you buy a $30 full face mask, don't wear it. Don't use it. It's dangerous. So here's why. I'm not going to get into the review of them, but basically a poor quality one has a long snorkel and it doesn't have a check valve for you when you breathe in and out. So basically you have to try to evacuate all the carbon dioxide when you exhale out of that snorkel and out of that mask. And without a check valve and an extra long snorkel, it's not going to happen. So you're going to be breathing your CO2, your carbon dioxide, over and over and over till you pass out and you drown. That's it. Google it. You'll see what I'm telling you. It's true. Now, you buy a quality one. The ones that we sell, they range anywhere from $90 to $110. And you know what? They're phenomenal. Because you pay for a quality mask and a quality snorkel anyway. In this, you're getting it. Silicone material, nice straps made without rubber inside so the salt water just doesn't eat them. The proper length of the snorkel, a one-way valve so when you evacuate it goes out and stays out. They're not dangerous and they're good, so you can find a good one. But this is not one of those things you want to just find on the internet and buy for 25 or 30 bucks. They're going to be kind of pricey to get a good one, but they're good, okay? Now let's get into the full face scuba diving masks. Why does somebody want this? Well, sometimes they're just cool. They're just cool looking. But if you need communication between you and somebody else, they have microphones built in and comms and earpieces built in. They also, if you dive in nasty water, the full face kind of covers your whole face, so it kind of keeps your face out of that nasty water. Perhaps cold water diving, more of your face is covered, and then you wear a hood and your whole head is covered. I'm going to say this: if you're considering that, they take special training. There's special classes for them. You need to know what you're doing with them because they don't clear like a regular regulator, okay? And they're not easy. You can't buddy breathe with them. So if somebody needs to buddy breathe and they have a full face mask, they're going to literally take it off and breathe out of a regulator, somebody's octopus, okay? So it takes a little bit of special training. Yeah, they are kind of cool. The comms don't sound real good. They kind of sound like that. You know, okay? So it's not just like you're having a walkie-talkie on land. So, but, you know, they can be cool, and a lot of commercial divers use them. They need to communicate to the surface and things like that. Now, I talked a little bit before about mirrored lenses. So I'm going to show you this one here. This is called a ray blocker. That image there is the eagle eye ray blocker. Okay. This is another one. And they have a coating on the outside that's like a mirror. And then on the inside, they actually have a little bit of a color too. And the idea behind these masks are they block ultraviolet rays. They are a high definition lens, so they're polished, and they're anti-glare. And basically, if you understand the principle how a polarized lens on sunglasses works, how it blocks some of the rays, This is not polarized, but it works similarly. It allows the rays bouncing off that fish, coral, or whatever to come straight into you, but the rays that are going off to the side, it kind of reflects those, and you don't see those. So consequently, you see the edge a little sharper around that fish, coral, item underwater, that sort of thing. So it blocks some of the rays going to the side. It also blocks the harmful rays, the ultraviolet rays, which when you come to the surface after being shadowed in the water, shaded all the time, it's less brightness, so it works a touch like sunglasses. I will say that, and in the same breath, I will say I've used these even night diving, and the flashlights, you can still easily see them. A little bit of refraction, that was some of the comments on our video before. People said, you know, it did block a tiny little bit of the light. And I'm gonna say not hardly any. Don't let that be the deterrent. If you want this mask and you also like to night dive, then that's just fine, okay? It usually adds a little bit of price to the mask. You can buy the same mask without these lenses in it, and it's about $30 cheaper than with the lenses in it. But I really enjoyed, you know, the ray blocker lenses. You cannot get this in a clear silicone because they don't want the light coming in from the side, bouncing off the inside of the lens into your eyes, because it would do that. So you can only get it in a black silicone. The last kind of little feature that I see gaining some popularity out there is a GoPro mount on top of the mask. I'm just going to say this about that. I use a GoPro. I love to use a GoPro underwater. You put it on your mask. You normally hold your head up. You're looking forward, right? Where do the air bubbles go from your regulator? They go up all the time, every time. So you're catching that really cool manta ray, and you want to show everybody, and about every 10 seconds or so when you breathe and you exhale, bubbles go flooding right in front of the GoPro, and you hear the sound on the GoPro and the whole thing. So I don't personally like the masks with the GoPro mounts on top of them, because I'm not going to put my GoPro there anyway. I'm going to hold it in my hand or put it on a selfie stick or put it on, you know, a device or a tray or something like that, and have the light with it. And you can't attach lights to your mask at the same time as the GoPro. And honestly, underwater, if you don't use light, it's just like everything's blue or green. When you start to add light, it gives you the proper color. Okay. So next, what are we going to talk about next? The proper care of a mask. This starts absolutely when the mask, when you take it out of the package. Okay, the proper care of a mask is going to determine how long this lasts you. Okay, first you need to clean the lens. When it's brand spanking new, comes from the factory, it has a film on the lens. It was a lubricant that they used to cut the glass with. They never washed it off. It doesn't dry greasy. It dries kind of hard, almost like a thin layer of plastic. The old timers will tell you, and you'll see this in tips and tricks out there to this day, which I hate. The old timers say, take a lighter, burn it off. Burn that film off. It'll come right off quick. It's true. But remember, masks used to be made out of vulcanized rubber. They made vulcanized rubber by heating it to its melting point, super hot, heat treating it, and so the lighter didn't really hurt the rubber. Okay? You put a lighter inside a silicone mask, it's going to warp the silicone that fast. And if you avoid the edges where the silicone is and just try to burn the middle, then guess what? Then you have the edges where you got to scrub it off anyway. So let me tell you, it's not the easiest thing to get off when a mask is brand new, but once it's off, it's off. When it's gone, it's gone. You never have to do this again. So we give somebody care instructions with our mask that says, get a product that's made for scrubbing a mask. If it's not a coated lens, if it's a regular lens, then you have a product like, mask scrub or things like that, right? And you put on some t-shirt material, you put, good heavy dose, big drops, and you scrub the heck out of it on the inside. And then you rinse and you do it again. You can do it dry or wet, it doesn't matter. And do it 4 times when the mask is brand new on the inside. 1 good time for about 3 minutes on the outside, and you're good to go. It'll never come back on there, so it's gone. And you're clean. After that, you don't have to go through so many lengths with 4 times and heavy drop. Just put a good drop on your thumb, rub the inside of your mask till it squeaks, rinse it, put your defog in and go, okay? So that's how you clean the lens. If you cut the corners, then it's gonna fog up on you. Wherever you don't scrub it, it's gonna fog up on you. My son, he surfaced, I said, you didn't clean your mask like I told you. He said, yeah, I did, Dad. 4 times. But he did it right in the center. He was looking at me through 2 quarters. Everything else was fog. Okay, so no lighter, No lighter, no lighter. I know the old timers are going to say, I do it all the time. Well, whatever. Use a mask cleaning product. Okay, now the next thing is use the right material. This is the biggest comment, and people almost chastised me when I said this, but I'm going to say it again because I believe in it. Don't spit in your mask. Right? I get it. I've done it. And gee, when you first learn, people spit in your mask and it works. Right? It does. But also, people can get pink eye. You know, the bacteria in your spit lives in salt water or fresh water. Your eyes are salt water. So you squeeze it in there and you get it underneath the little lip of the silicone around the edge because you're, you know, swishing it around. Then you put it on your face. Yeah, you rinse a little. It works. Okay, I get it. It works. But defog, what are you trying to save? $6? And the defog will last you 5 or 6 dives. The spit, you're going to have to do it every dive. Okay? So I'm just saying, don't take the chance of getting pink eye or bacteria in your eye, whatever. Just use a product that's made for it. Keep the dive people in business. Yeah, it costs money, but is $6 going to break you? I hope not. Okay? And I'm going to say this too. I've started a little bit of a campaign. Go look at the chemical analysis of dish soap and or baby shampoo. And I know dive operators on their boats, they have baby shampoo on there, and people have been using it for years. They squeeze a little baby shampoo in there, and they rub it around. It gets the grease out, gets the oil out, so now it's nice and clean. And it'll defog for about 1 dive. That's about it. And then they do it again and again. But you know what? You're pouring baby shampoo in the ocean. Enough said, hopefully. Okay? Now, when you're finished with the mask, you're done with your dive, what do? You dip it and you swish it really good in fresh water. That doesn't mean swimming pool, high chlorine. That means put it in the sink, put it in the bathtub with the rest of your gear, whatever. Rinse it really, really good. You know, you might, if salt crystals, if you didn't rinse it long enough, they'll build up. You just rinse it out really good. If you're going to store it for a while, like a lot of divers will dive, you know, 1 trip a year or seasonally, and then they put their gear away, a really good thing on any product, fins, snorkel, mask, if it has silicone on it, you go get yourself a little bit of food grade silicone and you just put it on a cotton ball or a little rag or something and just rub down your silicone with a little food grade liquid silicone, and then you store it for the season. Okay? I hope this has helped. Right? I'm trying to not have everybody, you know, just run out there and buy a mask that they're going to have to replace down the road anyway because it didn't fit them. So many of the people thanked us before saying, gee, I bought so many masks that never did fit. Now I finally got the mask that fit me, you know, and I think ultimately that should save you money and should help you enjoy your diving more to keep you in the sport. Right? Because if it's fogging and it's leaking all the time, it's going to drive us nuts and it's going to drive you crazy and you just won't want to do it. So we want to keep you diving, keep you underwater. Thanks for watching. Take a look at some of our other reviews of some of the individual masks and products we've talked about, and we do it for you. All right? Take care. You know, we have a lot of fun making these videos. Hopefully, it makes you smile. If you can think of someone else that might get benefit from these videos, why don't you share it with them? And you know how you can help us? Hit that like button. And if by some chance you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, then we'll let you know when the next one comes out. Make it a great day.